Hello, and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, whatever. I am Jordan, and with me is Luke. How are you doing, man?
Doing well. Just next gen gaming it up.
This is it. This is the week.
This is the week. This is the update week.
Yeah, next gen.
Finally have something to talk about.
Yeah, it has become this gen. We are in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, literally, like, there is no more last gen for me. I have part of the whole deal of moving, like, getting both next gen consoles, selling the my old PlayStation, selling my old Xbox. Now here we are. I did it all
You already moved them?
oh yeah, they're gone. They are sold.
Just Facebook Marketplace?
One of them to the PlayStation went to a friend, and the Xbox went to someone on Facebook Marketplace. So, yeah.
Good. We haven't listed mine yet. We need to.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna collect dust otherwise. So
Get it
while
the getting's good.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we're going to do things a little differently this week. I think, just because mainly what we've been doing is next gen stuff. So we might talk a little bit about what we're watching at the end if we want to talk about some movies or TV. But we're going to kind of
What you been gaming?
What you been gaming? But how you doing, man? Are you doing well? You doing well as I'm looking at you?
Just in general, you mean?
Yeah, just in general. Doing good?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a lot of balls in the air at the moment.
All right.
It's good. It's good things. All good things.
Good, good.
Obviously, have a baby coming, so there's all the things that come with that. But trying to remodel the house has been a journey. I don't think people understand what a undertaking it is until you do it. It's just there's a lot of, especially when you're trying to do a lot of it yourself too. Like, because I'm somewhat knowledgeable, so I'm just like, in what ways can I save money? So
Yeah.
it's good because I'm really excited about what's going to happen, but it's also just stressful because you know speaking of that, I've always thought it was interesting. There was a podcast I listened to. It was a Nerdist show, and they were interviewing Chris Hardwick. The host was interviewing some celebrity, and I don't remember exactly the quote, but he was saying that we never enjoy our time off, our vacations, our trips, our travels nearly as much as we should, because in the moment we're always looking to that next thing, because especially with travel, it's like there's so much unknown. It's like you think, okay, I'm going to this hotel, but it's like anything could happen. The plane could crash, the taxi on the way there could crash, or someone could abduct you. I mean, there's all kinds of things you don't know. There's so many unknowns about traveling and going out, and so like our mind as humans gets consumed with like the what ifs, in the moment. And yeah, I'm sure other people can maybe deal with it better than I do, but I it rang true with me when he said that. It's like there's so many things like, oh, I have to pre-plan, I have to worry, especially when you have other people with you, especially when it's your family and you're tasked with keeping them safe. It's like, those thoughts are there instead of I'm in Central Park at this moment and this is an amazing moment and it's so awesome, or wherever you are. I'm in the Colorado Rockies, and so it can be hard. So I feel a little bit of that. I try to remind myself of that in this moment. It's like I'll never be in this moment again, whether it's next gen consoles or, I'm about to have a baby or I'm remodeling my house. It's like all I can think about is, oh, how great the house is going to look later.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, how cool it's going to be, when the baby comes. But it's like there are amazing things happening right now. Like just all that to say, like, just can be hard to be in the moment a lot of times, and try not to stress over what's coming. So I think that's a note for myself, but also hopefully that helps someone out there as well.
Absolutely. Just a side note, like when it comes to that and vacations, like I know it's beside the point, but like the one like workaround okay, it's not like foolproof, but like to the best degree of success of not having to worry as much is a cruise. And when I say cruise, I mean like a long cruise. Like I'm talking like a week, maybe 2 weeks, where you start to forget You start to lose track of time, like that sort of deal. And you're not,
Yeah.
you just have so few decisions to make that it's like,
Yeah.
it becomes like you feel like you're in your own
Cruises
little
are almost
world.
too much in the other way for me.
Yeah, where you start to feel lethargic and you're like, who am I?
Yeah, there's never a moment in your life where your mind will be more consumed with what am I going to eat next than on a
Oh,
cruise.
yeah, you're just looking at that menu just like several
It's like
times.
it's like what am I going to do? Well, not a lot you can do. You can work out if you feel like it.
Yeah.
But I actually found when I worked out on the cruise, I got very seasick. I have problems with
Oh, yeah.
motion sickness. So I was like jogging, doing like Stairmaster or something. I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah.
I feel awful. I can't do this. The movement of you like trying to like jog and like looking at the horizon, bobbing up and down. It's like, nope, can't do that. But yeah, apart from that, it's like, sweet. Which which thing from that giant plate of food, giant table of food should I eat today?
Which night is lobster night? That's what I need to know. Are we
Yeah,
seeing cats
cruises are
tonight
fun.
or yeah, they're fun. They're so little cuz even when like even if you have everything planned out, if you're traveling, driving is like I just thought about it the other day cuz we were doing a little bit of like traveling around the state and like when you're driving, there's always a sense of when you get home you're like, "Wow, I survived. I survived the drive
Yeah.
there. I did it." Whereas like a cruise, I mean, sure it could sink, but you don't have anything to do with
Yeah.
that. You know, you're not
Especially true when you
responsible.
like fly to New York or something. Like, I don't know, New York sticks out for me, especially because it's like obviously there's a lot of stress in the airfare, especially if you
Oh
fly
yeah.
any of these budget airlines. It's like, ugh, it's just not a great experience. But then, like, you're in New York City. It's like probably one of the biggest places that, like terrorists target. Like,
Mhm.
what cities had probably the most terrorist attack? Probably New York.
Yeah.
And, there's also just like your common like mugger, rapist, just
Uh-huh.
person who wants to accost you for your iPhone or just knock it out of your hand and run away as they grab it or something. Like, there's a lot of people like that last time we were in there, we are staying in Brooklyn and it was just like my mind was just constantly consumed. It's like the exact opposite of what you're talking about with the
What's going to
cruise.
happen to us? What do we need to
Yeah.
go? Is that a safe route to travel? I don't know.
Who do I need to fend off next?
Yeah, there was always a sense of that. When we went to New York last, I made a terrible mistake. So we were at the Metropolitan Museum and we needed to get to a subway. And so we were like, the fastest way to get there is through Central Park. The sun has gone down.
Yeah.
The entire way there, I'm watching my
Never the
back.
greatest idea, right?
Awful. Immediately, like shortly after we entered in and we were like on our way, I was like, "This is a mistake. What have I done? What have we done? Have I killed us?" Oh boy.
And you survived.
Yeah, I'm here, so I was not stabbed or whatever. But anyways, well, let's do it. Let's get into this, man. Okay, so just to be clear, what we're gonna do is we have our consoles. We're gonna talk about our experience getting them. And then we're gonna talk about getting into them and all the goodies, all the details. And so, to be clear, Luke has gotten the Xbox Series X, and I will
I
be
have.
mainly talking about the Series S and
Jordan
the
will be covering the rest.
yeah, and the PlayStation 5. But I want to start with you, Luke, as I know my opinion, so I'm really interested to know yours
That's
and how
good.
your experiences are. So I'm curious. Tell me how your experience was getting into and all the stuff with the Series X.
Well, you actually kind of helped with the getting, so I was glad that you were able to do that. You had some time.
Man, the
It,
stress of
it
that,
was.
right?
It's like I texted you. It seems like every place I've lived since I moved out of my parents' house, it seems like is always at the end of UPS's, USPS's, FedEx. All the
Yeah,
X's, all of them. They ended their route. But like that night, what was it? Tuesday.
it
Um,
was Thursday night.
oh
Um,
yeah, that's right. I was thinking launch night was Tuesday, but yeah, I didn't get it till Thursday.
yeah, it was the
So
time you
between
texted me.
PlayStation, right?
Yeah, when you said it got delivered, it was at 11. It was at 8:11 p.m. when you said it got delivered to
Yeah.
me.
So obviously it was a little earlier than that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just crazy. But I mean, there's nothing they can do about it. It's crazy to me just how hard those guys work. It was
Oh
UPS
yeah.
specifically that delivered mine, and I've seen those guys at our local grocery store at past 9 p.m. and it seems like they're getting food maybe to finish up their route, or hopefully they're headed home at that point.
Yeah.
But I know I've talked to them before where they work till like past 10. That's just crazy because I actually worked for UPS years ago, and yeah, those guys are
That's
out at
right.
like 9:30. So if they're really working till 10, I mean that's a 13+ hour day.
Jeez Louise.
That's tough. Yeah, it's a lot of being on your feet. I can't imagine. So yeah, thank you, UPS. I know you guys are doing the Lord's work when it
Yes,
comes to
sir. Yes,
delivering
sir.
all this crap, especially in this time of everyone ordering everything online.
Oh
Not
yeah.
many people, not as many people shopping in stores. But yeah, so I got a little bit later. So when we got home later, because like we were saying, like we were trying to tell people, Jordan slid it under my garage for me, just so it was away from those prying eyes that
Yeah.
like to steal, the porch pirates.
Porch pirates.
Ugh, the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was able to open it up, and so what I had done before was I had cleaned my entire Xbox One out and transferred everything over to the hard drive. So I have a 1 terabyte and a 2 terabyte, and I hooked that in, and then I spent quite a while copying over files. I was getting a Modern Warfare Warzone. I was trying to just hit like the games that I knew I was going to play the most. It would probably benefit from it the most over to the internal hard drive. I'm realizing as I'm saying this is going to be a long story, so I'm going to try to make this a little
No,
shorter.
go. We're here, man.
Um,
Go for it.
so I transferred over Black Ops. Black Ops Cold War I'd already downloaded onto the Xbox One, and I transferred over off the hard drive onto the Series X, and I did the same with Warzone and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the main game. And yeah, it took quite a while. It was amazing how long it took. Even though it was a USB 3 drive, it's
Yeah.
still, I think it would have taken maybe 5 or 6 hours to download it off the internet, and it ended up taking me about 35 minutes per game. So the Black Ops Cold War is 163 gigs on the Series X version.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. Remember that. Um,
Yeah.
so Modern Warfare is like 120 gigs. It's nuts.
Goodness gracious.
So, anyways, I transferred all that over. Kind of got it going. Trying to remember, we were playing some other games, and this is when the tale of woe begins for me with the
Ooh.
Series X. So immediately I started having issues with the HDR, and I actually had some really bad bugs where the entire screen would be like, just you could like kind of tell that it was the game.
What?
Halo 5 was like impossible. It basically wouldn't work at all. And trying to think of what the other game was. I can't remember what the game I played that night, but just like maybe the next day I tried to play Forza Horizon 4,
Mm-hmm.
and that game would load in. I could still tell the colors were off. So what's happening with mine is I will start the game, like the main screen with the Xbox looks absolutely beautiful. Colors pop, screen's bright, looks great. I start the game, the big screen comes up that says like Forza Horizon or Halo 5 or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like, oh, it looks wonderful. And then that screen will go away and the game will start to load. And then I'll see the whole TV like go black for a second. And you can tell it switches modes. And then when it pops back up, you can tell the colors are off. It's almost like somebody messed with like the RGB sliders, and it's like a little greenish, bluish. Like it's not terrible, but it's enough to where you can tell it's just off a little bit.
Yeah. What in the
Almost like the
world?
white balance is off on a photo. Um, and then when you hit the it was Red Dead Redemption. That's what it was. Red Dead Redemption 2. I started that up while the other games were downloading, and it looked horrific. It looked terrible. I was able to get into the game, but it looked like there was like a one of those matte screens over my TV. It was all
Oh my
hazy
God.
and the colors were off. And when you'd hit the menu, like you could tell that whole hamburger menu pops down on the side. And you could tell like that was the colors are way off, hazy, terrible. You go back to the main menu, beautiful. HDR looks great. So I gave up on Red Dead Redemption, read some stuff online. Some people were saying that sometimes you have to restart your game. Um, it just like your TV what I kind of started to figure out was it was the TV, not the Xbox.
Okay.
And so they said you sometimes it's good to switch inputs and then go back to the Xbox, and then sometimes that'll fix it. That seemed to help sometimes. Um, so to make a long story short, I had a bunch of problems. I finally got Black Ops up and working. Even tonight, I still noticed that the colors were kind of off, but we were able to get that working, playing. You're supposed to be able to put a second player in. My friend Jason was here, so we were
Uh-huh.
trying to do split screen in the zombies mode of the new Cold War, and we were trying to play multiplayer split screen. Both were having problems, even though it said to add another controller and play split screen, hit A on the second controller. Did that over and over again, never worked. The only thing we were able to do was we could play multiplayer Cold War if we signed him into his Xbox Live account. So his paid account instead of like trying to piggyback off mine. All this being said, we would go into Modern Warfare Warzone, like the older game,
Mm-hmm.
and it would work pretty much fine. Colors looked okay. Split screen worked okay. So
Yeah.
so it was like, okay, this is a new game. It could be buggy, like it's not a big deal. But we were able to get it to work somewhat. We played Cold War a little bit, but it was still bugging out. There was a couple times where it actually would crash the game. Um, so let me zoom to tonight. Fast forward to tonight.
Yep.
I come home to play Cold War, and um, it's still where some of the games still feel like there's some color off things, but I have kind of discovered something. So the Cold War download that I had was not the 161 gigs. That's why I said remember that. It
Yes.
was 130 gigs. It was the Xbox One version. It was not the Xbox Series X version. And so there's actually a really bad bug right now that I was trying to play earlier where I would launch zombies. It would start searching for players. The screen would completely lock up where I couldn't do anything. And then the entire console would turn completely off. Game would crash, but at the same moment it crashed, the screen would go black and you'd see the Xbox light go off and you'd hear the chime go off.
What?
Terrible, terrible bug. I did it like 3 times. It turned off. I was just getting completely fed up. So I read online that that's what it is. So right now, the Black Ops Series X, so I had to delete the 130 gigs, and I now have to download 161 gigs, 163 gigs, Black Ops all over again. So that's very
Wow.
frustrating. So I'm still not completely sure what's going on with the HDR. My guess is that it is the fact that all the games that I've transferred over are Xbox One versions of the games,
Okay.
and I think that may be causing some of the issues, but I'm not completely sure,
Huh.
which is going to be terrible because that means I have to re-download every single game I own. I mean, that's like 2.5 terabytes.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Uh, and I have a freaking data cap from my internet provider. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. Um, without getting into it too much, but like, yeah, I didn't do any sort of data transfers except for maybe like the cloud saves for the PlayStation. I pretty much started from scratch as far as my games were concerned, and yesterday I definitely got that email from Cox saying that I've used like what I like have 25% left or whatever of our data for until like basically until early December, which I'm like, holy crap, right? I guess that's all I'm downloading for for a while. But yeah, oh man,
yeah.
yeah, because I didn't do any transfers, and so that's the first time I've ever seen that email ever. So that's crazy.
I wish they would just allow you to pay like a one-time thing to be like, I want unlimited data for this month.
Yeah.
But it seems like they make you sign up for an entirely new data plan because I was looking into it, and it's like it's like $30 for an extra 500 gigs, which I'll blow through super quick, and then it was like $50 for unlimited. It's like, if it's just so I can download all my games, I'd be willing to like pay that
Yeah, for a
one-time
month.
thing so
Yeah.
I could get everything. But I don't want to like transfer it all because I don't really need that on a normal month.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why buy something if you don't need it? So yeah, I've been very frustrated to be honest.
Man.
I still I think it's awesome, and I think it's just bugs, and I think it's probably partially user error, but this isn't exactly what I bought into. I was told that like I could put my stuff on hard drives, I could transfer it over, everything would kind of work. And it's like things are working, but there's a lot of bugs. And if there are these kind of bugs where it makes the game unplayable, like just don't let me play the game. Just say like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to patch this before you can play Red Dead Redemption 2. So yeah. It makes me think like we had that conversation where I was talking about the reviewer on IGN was talking about how he could only play certain games. And it's like maybe they should have made it so we could only play certain games because there was probably a reason they didn't want the reviewers to play those games, probably because they knew they were buggy. It's like, well, I don't want to play them if they're super buggy or
Yeah, yeah.
bad as this has been where I can't play them because it shuts my console down. And the strange thing too with the Black Ops is it was working.
Hmm.
It was working fine. And now it's not all of a sudden. So it just feels like it's a kind of a rocky start.
Yeah, that's upsetting to hear. That kind of yeah, that really sucks. I feel like I like if you have like some weird version of it on your console, or if they're like, hey, please re-download this or whatever, then it shouldn't work at all. They should just be like, okay, we need to re-download this. The transfer isn't
Yeah,
optimal
that'd
or
be great if it
whatever.
told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I know there's like this weird I'm gonna get into this a little bit when it comes to the Series S and something that I'll learn. But I'll go ahead and get into it. So basically, what I have come to understand is the Series X, when it is playing these games, when you go to the store and you're like, I'm going to download this backwards compatible game or whatever, it takes the Xbox One X version of the game
Hmm.
and downloads that version onto your Series X. And when you download on your Series S, it'll use the One S version of that backwards compatible game because of the because
That's strange.
yeah, basically because it's like, you know what, we're not going to we're not a 4K machine. We're not going to use 4K
But
assets.
neither is the Xbox One X.
Well, yeah, the One X could like
The
it's
One X
shot
doesn't do
for
4K gaming. It
it
does 4K video, but not gaming.
One X? I thought it like shot for
Yeah.
4K or something like that, or had
No.
like oh interesting. So either way, it has like higher resolution assets than the One S. So there's like whatever depending on which console you have, it like will download a different version. So like when I go and I download whatever it might be, if unless it's optimized for the Series X/S, it will be the Xbox One S version of that game, and they'll do whatever improvements they can to it, but there'll be certain limitations, like whatever resolution it ran on the One S, it'll still run that. The only thing that could possibly be improved is, say, if it had an unlocked frame rate or something like that, it'll
Hmm.
be at like the peak of whatever that frame rate would be with the new hardware. So there's a lot of interesting stuff, I think, with backwards compatible. And apparently it's the same with the PS5, that if you download a backwards compatible game, unless it has like some sort of PS5 patch like Ghost of Tsushima seems to, you'll be downloading the PlayStation 4 Pro version, and it'll take that and kind of
Hmm.
like do its thing with that instead of the PS4 base version, because I think there's like additional assets that download with the Pro version that aren't with the 4 version. It's not just like they download it all
Yeah.
and then a bunch of it's unused.
There's like a high res hack that you can get with Modern Warfare.
Oh,
So you can
yeah.
like choose if you want to do it or not.
So with Cold War, you said you transferred over the Xbox One version of that. Did you have to like go in and like delete it and re-download it as the optimized version, basically?
Yeah, I went in and uninstalled all, and now I have it downloading right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, baby. Were you able to play pretty much anything else, or?
Most of my time has been playing Black Ops. I've played a lot of multiplayer. Like I said, I was playing the zombies before, pretty all right. I probably played an hour or two, and yeah, I mean, it looked really good. It's just Black Ops, it looked good enough to where I was like, I think the colors are all right in this. But the weird
Mm,
thing is when you popped up the hamburger menu on the side, looked off. It was like the orange that I have set as my game color, my like system color. It kind of had this like red look to it. And then you go back to the main
hmm.
menu and you can tell it's like, yeah, that's a true orange. And then you go to that one, it's like, yeah, that there's definitely a difference in color there. So yeah, I don't know if it's a firmware update that I saw something about like LG TVs, Vizio TVs, Samsung TVs having some kind of bug. I don't know. So I guess I also need to download the firmware update for the TV. I can see probably TV manufacturers, probably getting some complaints about this. So
Yeah.
I could see them maybe issuing an update. But at this point, I know that right now I'm hoping that I double check each game, make sure I have whatever version of the game I'm supposed to, which like for something like Red Dead Redemption, it's like there's only one version of this game, isn't there? Unless they released another version of the game. I don't know. It's like I said, it's going to be very frustrating if I have to re-download all these games. That's
Yeah.
just nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so basically everything like it's funny how both of us like it all started on Thursday, like even though the Xbox technically came out that Tuesday. Shipping, well, thankfully were able to both get it on Thursday. I got my Series S from Target. Since we're talking about Xbox, we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and jump into that. Series with the Series S, um I got it like later in the afternoon after I've like had my PlayStation 5 for a few hours, but it got delivered in like the mid afternoon or something, pretty early actually for a delivery, even
Mm.
for like our place, which is pretty early. And so, um, yeah, setting up that, first of all, ultra small. Like you've seen all the pictures. That thing is small. It's kind of hilarious. Like I have both of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S next to each other vertically. It's kind of hilarious looking at them because the size difference is just insane.
Yeah.
I'll get to the 5, but but with the S, setting it up was easy. I didn't do any sort of like transfers. The only transfer I did was like for my settings, but I love basically the whole thing with the setting it up through the app. Both Xbox and PlayStation, a very huge integration with their apps. Like I was happy to see that, but Xbox even more so. Ultra easy to set up. I was like, oh man, this is just
Hmm.
super easy.
Yeah, you set up through the app on the X as well. Yeah, I forgot to
Mm,
mention that. That was cool, but yeah, it's just frustrating. It's like if the data that I saved on the hard drives isn't compatible, then you
say
should like
so.
check that or something.
Yeah, say no
Let me
or
know what I'm going to be expecting.
yeah, it's like yeah, that doesn't sound right at all for me. Like you should say something to be like, nope, this is or like you should anticipate that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Anticipate that not everyone's moving from the Xbox One X or whatever it is to the Series X. I mean, it's a lot. Most
These
people,
developers should have tested too on these
yes,
consoles.
absolutely. Um, but yeah, Thursday, I was able to play a bit for sure, but it was very much a download day for me, where just there's so much stuff downloading. So, my buddy, we actually pre-ordered the the PlayStation at the same GameStop, and we actually had both in-store pickups, and so we had this thing where he would actually bring his PlayStation 5 over because he has awful internet, terrible. Over in Micanopy, there's a
Hmm.
small like outskirt town. He has
Yeah.
horrible internet, and so he was like,
Do you have
"Hey,
satellite?
I don't even know honestly. It may be like AT&T, but they offer."
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
So he downloaded like maybe a few games. Like he downloaded like his firmware update and his base games while I did it. And so there was so much downloading going on. I was downloading on the PlayStation 5. I was downloading on the Series S. Basically, the things I were downloading on the Series S are some of the stuff that I already had. Like I streamed Kingdom Hearts. I streamed Kingdom Hearts off Xbox, and so that was like one of my first things. And so a
Yeah.
lot of downloading, but other than that, like getting into the system itself, I had kind of a weird snafu with HDR too, but it's completely different. I understand exactly what's going on and why it's happening now. I have one input on my television, only one
What?
that can do HDMI gaming.
Hmm.
The strange thing about that is though, with the One X, with the One S, I would play a lot of the 4K Blu-rays on it, and that it always enabled HDR. Like that's a big part of 4K Blu-rays is the HDR, and that worked just fine. It's specifically 4K. I mean, not 4K HDR gaming, specifically that. Which so it's very strange. So basically, for me to be able to do auto HDR, I have to I like tested it out. Like I unplugged the PlayStation 5, put it into that port, and it was like, oh, there it is. We recognize that this TV supports HDR gaming now. Okay. And so basically I just have to switch them out when I want to, which is stupid. But so yeah, I mean, my impression with the S so far is like I probably played a little bit less of that because obviously this is like my secondary console. I have this for Game Pass. This is my Game Pass machine. This is my Xbox exclusive machine. So like when stuff like, yeah, Halo Infinite comes out, heck yeah, I need a place to play that, and I want it to be reasonable. Like I'll be kind of I have kind of some suspicion of how games like that will look if you're playing it on the original Xbox or the One S or something like that. I have some doubts that it's gonna be great. And also the SSD. You want the SSD, and I will say, holy freaking crap, is it fast?
Mm-hmm.
Like putting it
sure is
from rest mode to turning it on, bam. Like my drill is I'm walking towards the couch, I pick up the controller, I press the on button, and then I sit down and I wait a little bit, maybe like 30 seconds or whatever, and then my gaming console's on. Now, no, it is on before I sit down. I press the button, I'm sitting, oh, it's already on. It is.
The games start up so much faster, which is nice because I've had to restart games many times right now.
Yeah. And so I'll kind of go through the experience of some of the games that I have played. I played probably just like a few hours, like maybe 4 hours total between the games that I've played. And I'm jumping between games, and that's with the quick resume, and which is freaking awesome. I will.
How are you able to play Cold War? I saw you were in that. Is that because our accounts are linked?
That's because our accounts are linked.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But I'm having a problem actually getting in for some reason. Like it's saying, "Hey, your email. We need a valid email or something." When I'm trying to log into my Activision account, and it does the same thing when I go on to the Activision website. And so I don't know. I'm trying to troubleshoot that, but I'm gonna do the best I can with that. So what I'm going in between is Ori, Will of the Wisp, which is optimized for the X and S, which is like one of the few games right now that runs natively on 4K on the Series S, which is interesting. I think that's one of the very few that runs 4K 60 frames per second. And I think like
because of the art style.
Yeah, and I think it's like 6K on like the Series X or whatever if it has the TV to support it or monitor. Yeah. Given that, obviously. I'm playing The Tourist, which is an indie game, and I'm going back between that, Kingdom Hearts, and oh my gosh, what's the name of it? Hellblade, and Dante's Inferno. So Dante's Inferno, that's a random game that I really like. That's it's like a Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation game. Yeah. And so yeah, man, they run really well. There's nothing like, again, like when we're talking like some of the backwards compatible games, like Hellblade, for instance, it is running the One S version, so it's not 1440p or 4K or anything like that. I don't even know if it's 1080p, but it looks fine. It looks pretty good. It runs smooth, which is the main thing. It runs very smooth. And jumping between these games are very fast. Using the quick resume, very fast jump between that. And, oh yeah, and also Doom Eternal. I downloaded Doom Eternal. That's new to Game Pass, I believe. Plan on playing that and playing through that because I really enjoyed the first Doom.
So many of these games I tried to get into, but it was like everything. As soon as you click it, hold on a second now, we have an update.
Oh my God.
Give us 5 hours and we'll be done.
So I played a little bit of that. Played a little bit of Tetris Effect, which is really cool. I mean, it's Tetris, but it's a nice version of Tetris. But talking about the load times, I will. Okay, so I haven't played a ton of backwards compat games on the PlayStation 5 yet, just like a big handful, like a small handful, I mean to say. But like from what I can tell, man, these games on Series S are like loading so fast. So for an example, Dante's Inferno, I usually play that game on hard, and when I do that, I suck, so I die a lot. And there's this loading screen in between when you die where it like loads up. It's like a canto from the original poem of Dante's Inferno. And so back before when I was playing it on like the 1S or even like the PlayStation 3 when I originally played the game, I'd be staring at that freaking like that verse from the poem for so long. Now I don't even really have time to read it. It's like it's like
best problem.
Oh, the best problem. And I'll die and I'll be like, oh, and I fell into darkness, and then I'm like, oh my god, and we're back. It's great.
It was not built for that kind of horsepower.
Yeah, and I love that. Like one of my biggest things when it comes to certain games is when you if there's giant loads between deaths, it pisses me off, especially with hard games.
Like GTA 5 would take a while to get back into. It's like,
yes,
wasted. Here we go.
Yeah, get your phone out, start looking through social media. But yeah, man, I mean, that is just great to see how quick it loads between deaths, between levels. It's snappy, man. Like, and going, but like, okay, with the 1S, I noticed like going through the menus, it's kind of like it's almost like it drags a little bit. Like going between games would be like you'd hit the over button, it'd be like over, doop, you know, like almost like a little bit of a lag. Now, like going through the menus, so snappy, so fast, feels great. And so I'm very happy with it so far. You know, it's like I knew about like the fact that like a lot of these backwards compatible games weren't gonna be like, oh my god, it's 4K, it's amazing. And I know going into it, okay, these newer games will be optimized a lot more for this console. It'll run the backwards compatible games, except the load times will be significantly better. Maybe the frame rates will be better. That's what you're getting into, and that's what I got. And you know, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever comes our way from Game Pass, you know, especially when they choose to optimize these games. Because
oh my gosh, EA Play
is
insane. How many games got added that launch day?
Like an extra 100 games, pretty much.
I've got like a list of games I want to download, but I'm like, I should probably take it a little slow. Like we said about the data caps. Fly through them real quick.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I downloaded like I was curious. I was like, let's just download a bunch of games because you know it's a small hard drive, the Series S. Like it's like ends up being like 300 something.
Baby drive.
That's extremely a baby drive. And so I was like, let's see what we do. Let's see how far we get. Let's see if I look at this thing and I slap my forehead. And honestly, no, not so much. For the games that I play, there's a pretty strong variety of them. There's like 20 games that I was able to download, and they varied between games like Cold War and Doom Eternal and games like that. And then there were smaller games like Untitled.
There's a lot of smaller games.
Oh yeah, Untitled Goose Game, Fable 1, Banjo-Kazooie, like games like that. You can download tons of games like that, those are a lot of games that I really like, and a lot of the games that I'm like,
is that the like remastered version of Fable?
Yeah, the anniversary edition. And so it's not big at all. I'm not gonna come and say, especially if you have like a lot of big games, like if you start downloading, okay, I'm gonna download the Master Chief Collection, Cold War, Red Dead Redemption 2, you're gonna find it's pretty much filled almost immediately. But if you have like one big game, a couple less big games, a mid-sized game, and a bunch of small games, you'll be fine. But it all depends on the kind of games that you want to play, obviously. But you know, I knew what I was getting into when it came to the Series S, and I recommend, if you're listening to this podcast and you're wondering which console should it get, it depends on what situation you're in. This is my secondary console. All the big games I'm going to be playing on the 5 in the highest resolution that I can have without having the Series X. And um, yeah, if this is either your secondary console or you're a casual gamer, or you just want into Game Pass, but you don't really care too much about 4K and all that stuff, great. But if you're a gamer and you're like into the Xbox community and you want into Game Pass and you want all that, but you only want to get one console, get the Series X. That is what I would say. I'm pleased with the Series S for what I want it for. But,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
um, but I haven't really tried out auto HDR yet, Luke. Is like fully, like I basically all I did was plug it into the one slot that I know did it, and it was like, oh, it's on, but I didn't like ramp up a game or anything like that to kind of.
It is
test it
not
out.
obvious to me when the HDR is on, honestly. So I'm at a place where I'm not even sure what's happening. I've had so much problems with the color, and at no point when I hit that thing does it ever say HDR up in the top corner.
I see.
So I don't know what's going on. I had auto HDR on. I turned it off. Like I've just been messing with settings, trying to figure out how I can fix this. Yeah, I'm very frustrated, to be honest.
No, that sounds awful.
I want this to work. There's so many things I see that are awesome about it. Like you were talking about, like the loading is obvious, and I can tell like the frame rate's so much higher. But like when the games are crashing and the color, I mean, the color on the Red Dead Redemption was so bad, I would just refuse to play if it had always been like that. I just wouldn't play the game at all. It looked terrible. It wasn't just like, oh, it's not as pretty as HDR. No, it's like much worse than my old TV on my old Xbox.
Man.
It looks terrible. And I'm not even sure what to do. Like, like I know what to do with Cold War. It's like, okay, I probably have the wrong version. It's some compatibility thing. It's trying to do HDR with a version that doesn't contain the files for HDR. Okay, that can make sense. But with Red Dead Redemption, it's like, I have no idea. It's not a next gen game. It's a 2-year-old game. Like,
yeah,
it shouldn't matter which game I'm playing it from. I never dreamt that it would matter this much which file I was running off of. Like, that's really inconvenient if I can't just switch my stuff over from my old Xbox, my old hard drive.
Yeah, it should be, as you said, if it's not right or if something's missing, update it when it goes onto the console. I mean, whoever heard of that,
Yeah.
It should update immediately. Okay, update required. Go ahead.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of stuff running, so I just I don't know what updated,
so weird.
Yeah, I don't really know what to do on my end. It's like, I just want this to work. Why are you not working?
Gosh.
So I'm gonna keep working on it, obviously. Yeah. Maybe I have to call Microsoft.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem that the one good thing I could say is it does not seem like there's something wrong with the Xbox. It seems like there's either something wrong with the software or there's something going on with the compatibility between the TV and the Xbox. Because the TV works fine on the Apple TV. It looks great. HDR looked perfect. So I also don't think there's something like wrong with my TV.
I doubt it too. Yeah.
It just seems to be like some kind of compatibility issue. Like somewhere things are like clashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm not sure. I can definitely tell the TV's working slower as well than it used to. It feels like it's like, okay, you're trying to do 120 hertz and HDR.
I see.
It's like the Tizen chip is working harder. It's like, this is a brand new TV that costs $1,500. So it's like, what else do you want from me? I've put all the money into this. Just work.
Yeah, absolutely. That's frustrating when you have all your ducks in a row and it's like, crap, what do you want, Xbox?
Yeah.
What do you want?
We've been waiting so long.
Yeah. So the PlayStation 5. So we were texting each other the day prior on Wednesday, and I was like, no, was it the day? Yeah, it was the day prior, and it was so crazy because like we live in Florida, tropical storms, hurricanes come all the time, but like I was ready. I had the day off on Thursday, ready to freaking go, and I got to work, and people were like, oh, a tropical storm's coming, right? And I was like, no. Don't you freaking ruin this for me. Florida weather. And so I was like, the whole day before, I was like,
Our only storm of the year.
I know, right? I had a lot of anxiety. I was like, oh my God, we've been through several storms. There's no way a tropical storm worries me as far as the safety of me and my wife or anything like that. We've been through so much worse. I'm like, whatever. And so the main thing was, is GameStop going to be open the morning before? So I was calling. They're like, as far as we know, like stuff like that.
And
but,
UF closed.
yeah, like our school's closed. My wife was home from work because she's a teacher and her school closed. Yeah, it was. I was like, oh man. And so I remember I like woke up like early in the morning, like really early, like 5, because like I was just like, what's the storm doing? Yeah, I know it's like embarrassing a little bit, but I was like, what's the storm doing? And I remember I looked at the weather channel. It's like, oh my God, it's right on top of us. We have like an air purifier in our room, and it's like and so like for a second I was like, okay, I know the air purifier's on, but I think I'm hearing wind. And so I went to the porch and I got up out of bed and I looked outside, and I was like, oh, there's like literally nothing going on.
There was a little bit of wind.
Yeah, it was a little bit,
yeah,
but I was like,
it wasn't much.
And at that point, it was. Like
it's crazy because it passed right next to us, but
oh yeah,
just never materialized. Like it really did. It was supposed to be like 45. It's like I don't really see 45 mile per hour consistent winds. Like maybe a few gusts up to that, but yeah, I don't think anybody even lost power in the whole city, and we always seem to lose power.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Well, it was too high. I'm sorry. It didn't quite descend.
I think we're
us.
one of the most wooded counties in the world, actually. Like Alachua County, where we live. I think we have the most trees per capita.
Can you imagine? I show up to GameStop. I'm very sorry, sir. A tree fell on your PlayStation 5. Yeah, only yours. Crazy. It's crazy. Sorry.
One spear-like branch.
Yeah.
Right through the heart of the console.
The one that had your name on it, because that's how we do it.
Yeah. We had it sitting by itself. All the others are fine, though, so don't worry about them.
Oh, they're great. So my buddy Adam showed up, and we went to GameStop together, and we waited in line. So this is a little bit of a story in and of itself, the waiting in line. So a bunch of people were there. There were some hopefuls who were hoping for a day of shipments, like some extras.
Some fools.
Yeah, they were sent away pretty promptly by the store manager. He was like, "Sorry guys, we have only what we have to fulfill the pre-orders." But what happened was, it was interesting. There was a guy in line, and he wasn't in line. He was standing outside the line. This is interesting, and I see some cameras around him. So this is a YouTuber. He's a local YouTuber. He's pretty big. He's pretty big. He has like 347,000 subscribers, and he's making
very big.
Yeah, he's very big. He's a local one. He's making a video. You go to his page, you can see me and my buddy awkwardly standing in the back. The goal of his video, he's a PC-based YouTube channel, so he's all about PC gaming, and so what he did, he went to this GameStop in the hopes of converting one of these PlayStation 5 hopefuls into a PC person he basically had a gaming PC with him that had a GX 38,000, one of those ones that are
with him.
Yeah, with him. This is all for his content. He was filming all this. It was one of those ones that was impossible to buy. Oh no, it was the RTX 3080 or whatever.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah. And so basically what he said is the PC like an amounted like $2,500. And so he was wheeling and dealing. He was like, "Listen, I will trade this for your pre-order for this PlayStation 5. And you can have this straight up." A lot of people going, I mean, he didn't really talk to us very much. I was like, we're just like, "No, thank you." And so, yeah, it was that along. And then
good deal. I might have taken that.
No, it's an insanely good deal. Like seriously, we are at this point beyond the point of logic. This is a hype train moving. That once you're going full speed on the hype train, it's very hard to derail that hype train onto something else. And this is it in motion. And so, after no one accepted that offer, he then went up to say, "Not only I will give you this gaming PC for your console, I will
$500 cash."
Yes.
Yep.
He said, "I will also pay for your
I've seen
console.
some YouTube videos. I know it's coming.
You know it's coming. And so he was there like trying to finagle this, and finally I think someone bit. Someone bit this, and he made the deal. And so
Yeah, you should have done that, Jordan.
I mean, yeah, again,
That's crazy.
in the realm of actual logic, but for like me and Adam, we're like, clearly no. We were like, no way.
He's like laughing, and then you get quieter and quieter. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah,
if we did that.
Basically like $3,000.
And then you're like fighting each other.
You mother!
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take it. Here it is, sir. My console.
Yeah, it literally I actually went back and I watched the video that he produced. Yeah. Had some information I didn't know. The only reason the guy who did it, he had 2 pre-orders of the PlayStation 5. Yeah.
Why didn't he do it earlier?
I don't know, man. But holy,
what a fool.
Yeah, and so
GameStop let him have 2.
I think it was elsewhere. I think when his other pre-order was elsewhere,
Best Buy or something
like that. And so that is really funny. If anyone is interested in that experience, UFD Tech is the name of the YouTuber.
Good idea for a video.
That is a good idea for pretty good content. I will say that's a pretty good video actually that he put together. I don't think he understands fully kind of even though logic aside of the whole value proposition as far as why console gamers are like they are, I think there's such a big divide there as far as PC gamers and console gamers as to like what drives them to have their preference. I think it's like a console gamer sometimes can't fully understand the PC gamer and vice versa, but interesting nonetheless. But anyways, so it's the classic. If you've ever pre-ordered a console or gotten a console or pre-ordered anything at a GameStop, it's this classic thing. They call people, and they were doing it like 2 at a time because I don't know, they're trying to keep it down or whatever. But the classic woo, and every person left with their giant box. And so, I mean, we had a download session. I'll go ahead and say it. It's humongous. Like, the PlayStation 5 is humongous. I'm not one of those people who are like, it's not that big. No, it's that big. It's that big. I might not go on about it as much as a lot of other people do because my
wife was surprised how big the Series X was, actually.
Oh, really?
I thought it was going to be about half that size from how I described it.
Yeah,
it's pretty good size.
I think it's
pretty tall.
Oh yeah, it's pretty big, but my definition of big has changed. Because I mean, it has changed the nature of our entertainment center just having the PlayStation 5. I do have space for it though, for it to be vertical, which I think is a rarity for most most entertainment setups. I think having it vertical is like not a common thing, but I do have it vertical and next to the Series S, and it's there. And so I mean, getting it set up was fine. I didn't really have anything weird go on with getting it set up. It was a pretty streamlined experience. The downloads were a little slow because me and Adam were both downloading simultaneously. Again, causing my data rates to rise and rise and rise. But it was a cool experience, man. I mean, just like my hype levels were just at a max unboxing that thing. I was kind of scared installing the stand because if you've seen any of the videos, you have to put one single screw in if you're gonna do it vertically. If you're gonna install it vertically, you have to put one single screw into the bottom that comes with the stand. It's very, very interesting. I was just kind of nervous, I don't know. I was gonna tip over. I was gonna break. I don't know. But
I do like that the Xbox Series X. It's just there's some little legs on the side. So.
Oh yeah.
It has this circular disc on the bottom for the vertical.
I will say straight up
on its side in the thing, and I realized it was getting very hot. And I had the hard drives on top, and the hard drives are on fire.
Oh.
I had to put it up on top of the thing for now.
Yeah.
We're changing around our whole living room, so it's temporary. But for now, it's up, and it billows out some heat. So
up the top, keeping
it in an enclosed area is, Seems like trouble.
Yeah, that's a tough prop, especially those long gaming
Especially if
sessions.
there's other things in there that are also creating heat, which in my case is like the TV box is in there too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it creates a lot of heat in that little spot.
Yeah, these are cool consoles, but they're also big, so store them carefully for sure.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
mine, how it is, like it has some space above it, but I would like there for there to be a little bit more. I've been kind of going over to it and kind of feeling it, and I haven't really felt anything troubling or anything like that. But and I'm not really worried about it being next to the S because the S is it produces very little heat for sure, very little. Like I don't think there's barely any noticeable heat at all. Um, but yeah, basically after downloading it, I got into the Astros Playroom, which is the thing that I think most
Hmm.
people have seen, and man, it's great. Like it's a great little game. Like it's I did not expect for me to have that opinion, but I was smiling playing it, man. It was just a great time. Like it's just interesting how Nintendo it is. I know a lot of people are saying that, but it's so true. Like playing it, it becomes immediately apparent. It reminds me of like Mario Galaxy or Mario Odyssey, but it's basically it's a demo for the DualSense controller.
Mm.
Is but it's the game in of itself. It's a game. Like they put thought into this. Be like, okay, let's make it a game, but that demos the controller, and it does both very well. And the controller's awesome. I mean, like that's it's been said all over the place, and yeah, it is really awesome. Like I was like, holy crap. The thing about it is like some of those sensations that are like for that haptic feedback. There's something satisfying that when you have it, it just feels good. There's a lot of things that like even if
Hmm.
it does turn out to be like something that's not used very, it's like yet to be seen. We'll see how it's used in the time to come and see if Astro's Playroom is like the biggest example we ever get. I hope not because
Right.
it's really cool. But either way, like we've seen a lot of weird fads come and go. The Nintendo Wii's motion controls I feel like was kind of a fad. The Connect was they're an attempt on a fad. Like we'll see where VR leads us, but either way, with every single one of those things, there's something intrusive about it. Like whether you're having to stand up and calibrate your Wiimote or whatever, and like do all this
Hmm.
motion, but it's nice to have something that's so different. But you're not doing anything different. You're just playing your game on your normal controller. It just feels different, which is super cool. Super cool. And Astro's Playroom is just a fun celebration of PlayStation and the history of PlayStation, but and also just a fun platformer that looks gorgeous, by the way. It's a simple game as far as its art style, but it's very detailed, very crisp. Like there were some games that like targeted 4K on the PlayStation Pro, but it was like not really close to native 4K in any game. But it's crazy. Like I can like, holy crap, yeah, this is the first time I've ever played a true 4K game on my television. And then it really, I was like, wow, I can definitely see this. Yep, 4K, there it is.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great, man. And but yeah, other than that, like quick impressions of other games, like playing Miles Morales. Um, it's awesome. It's more Spider-Man, but it's a little bit more refined, and it looks really freaking good with the 4K, the ray tracing, and all that stuff. It looks great,
Hmm.
and I'm having a blast playing it. I'm still kind of working my way through it. With all these games, there's a lot of decision paralysis because you just want to try everything. Like, I want to see
Yeah.
how this looks. I want to see how this looks.
Yeah.
I want to play around with the user experience, and so like I feel like it's taking me a while to actually get like I still haven't beat Astro's Playroom. It's that bad. I've only played it for like 4 hours or something, and so I haven't really beat it. It's like really kind of just this gamified demo, which is just kind of blown up, and it'll be a little bit
Mm.
more than what it is. But quickly, some games I've tried out, like as far as some weird things. Okay, so No Man's Sky, it's basically has been ported over to next gen, right? Whether it be
Hmm.
Xbox or PlayStation, it has a next gen version that is out day one
Right.
with the console's launch. And so I downloaded No Man's Sky and I started playing. And I went through in my PlayStation 4 before getting rid of it, and I loaded all of my save data up to the cloud, which I'm going to go ahead and say with Xbox, it's it's like nothing. It doesn't, you have to do anything. It just does it. You know, it's like you start your game, you're like, oh, hey, I know you. Here's your save data. But with PlayStation, you have to be a little intentional about it. You have to load your data. Like, basically, I had to, like, it took like 15 minutes to load all of my save data onto the cloud from the PlayStation 4 onto the cloud. And so what I did was
That's strange, the difference.
it's weird. And you have to be a Plus subscriber too to do that.
I don't know if that's true on Xbox.
I don't know. But loading up No Man's Sky, I started it and I was like, okay, let's go. And then like it did the thing that's like initializing, which it does when we are just starting a game. I was like, whoa, where's my save data? It said my save data would carry over. Where's my save data? And so here's what I had to do to load my save data. Okay, so the weird thing about the PlayStation 5, it's interesting. I don't know. It's not really a bad or good thing. It's just kind of strange. What you can do if you're like on the main menu and you're like, oh, there's No Man's Sky. If you could go into options and you can change which version of the game that you're playing, whether you can be like, you could select the PlayStation 4 version or the PlayStation 5 version. And so
that means you have all the data on the game download.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that means I have like 2 like game datas on there. I haven't looked at like how much space it's taken up or anything like that, but it's strange. And I think it's the same way for every game that has a PlayStation 4 version, whether that be Miles Morales or Sackboy or whatever. I think it is. But either way, it's very strange. But when I loaded it up, it immediately was like, okay, PlayStation 5 version, let's go. And so I was like, all right. But it was like, where's my save data? I looked everywhere. I was like, where is it? I loaded it up off the cloud onto the PlayStation 5. I'm like, where is it? And so like I had to look it up and to see how to do it. It was weird. But it was really like, it took a while for me to actually find it because when things are new, there's a lot less information on the internet out. So I really had to look, be like, how do I do this? What am I doing wrong? And so what I had to do, I had to play the PlayStation 4 version. And in the main menu of the PlayStation 4, there was an icon to transfer the data to the PlayStation 5 version. And so I had to do that, close the PlayStation 4 version, open the PlayStation 5 version, and then upload the PlayStation 4 data into that version. And then bada bing, bada boom.
Wow.
That all being said, holy freaking crap. No Man's Sky looks amazing. I was like, yeah, this is going to look better. It's going to look good.
To jump into it.
Man, full 4K, full 60 frames a second, which the PlayStation Pro wasn't really close to either of those things. It was like above 1080 somewhere, probably like 1440 maybe. And like the unlocked frame rate in the PlayStation 4 Pro version was like all over the freaking place. But man, I was like, good grief, this looks good. It does feel like, am I playing like a sequel or something? Because it looks fantastic. So a few of the games I loaded up that were like older games, I was like, let's see how they look. Genshin Impact had some sort of, okay, so here's the thing that I've noticed. Some of these games are ports. Like basically they make a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series version of the game. Some of these games are games that have patches that are still the backwards compatible games, but they say, oh, we recognize that you're playing on a next-gen console, so you have access to this patch in this backwards compatible game. And so there's a few examples of that already, I think, in both consoles. Genshin Impact is a big one for PlayStation 5, which it basically says, here, 60 frames a second, whereas it's like capped at 30. And then it's the same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. They're not saying, hey, this is a PlayStation 5. No, it's backwards compatible. But, hey, here's an unlocked frame rate, 60 frames per second. Here you go. And so it's like, it looks great. It's like, holy crap, this looks fantastic. But, yeah, some of these aren't true PlayStation 5 versions. They're games that have gone back and said, hey, we're going to unlock the frame rate, do something with it. I think they did something similar on the Xbox for... on the Xbox Series X, I think specifically for Fallout 4 and Jedi Fallen Order. I think they took it and were like, here it is, 60 frames per second, go.
Yeah.
And so
The fact that Fallen Order's in there because of EA Play is
it's
so
crazy.
amazing.
That's such a new game. That is such a new
Yeah.
game, but I love this. Like, I love the fact that some of these games, like, that are like really close to launch, are like, here you go. You have this console, so you get this. You have this console, you have this game, so you get this. This is what I was talking about, and
Yeah.
like, this is like, yeah, this is what I want as far as
Great
backwards
fan
compatibility.
service.
Yes, it's like we
Yeah.
want you to continue to play this game. This game's pretty popular, so here you go. And then there's games where it's like they don't really have to do anything because of the merit that they have an unlocked frame rate version of that game just means it runs so much better. Like Kingdom Hearts 3 had an unlocked frame rate that it like in the PlayStation 4 Pro it didn't quite ever hit 60 very often at least, but on the 5 it's like, "Oh my god, this feels so good."
Yeah.
And I know it's like similar with tons of Xbox Series X games and some Series S games too, but it's great. I love that. But I'm going to be getting into much more games. I have a few games to play. Bug Snacks. I've only played like an hour of it. It's pretty fun so far. And also Sackboy. We went ahead and we were like, me and Amber were like, that looks really good. I think we both are going to like that. Let's go ahead and get Sackboy as a big adventure. So, yeah, we ended up getting that as well. And, yeah, there's so many games to play between all those games, between the Xbox stuff that I'm wanting to play. There's so much to do.
Yeah.
But
So much to play.
yeah, that being said, I have a few quibbles with the 5. I feel like I do need to say a few things. I'm like, I'm not sure if I like this yet, or a few things where I'm like,
I
I'm
can't
not.
be the only one to complain, Jordan.
No, and it's a new next gen where you're gonna have bugs in every direction. I don't think anyone's gonna be spared.
Not just Bug Snacks.
Not just
Real
bug snacks. More bug craps is
Bug
more like
craps. Crapping on us.
The UI, there's some things I really like about the new PlayStation UI. I like how it looks a lot. I think it looks beautiful. It looks great. It's great to see how sleek it is. Okay, I'll backtrack to Xbox really quick. The Xbox Series S UI, or the new Series UI, I've had a lot of trouble in the past with the Xbox UI. It's bugged me. But the most recent update they did before these consoles even launched, I noticed it while playing, Kingdom Hearts. This is the best update they've ever had. This is now I'm like, for some reason I just
changed a lot about the aesthetic in the new update.
Yeah, and some organizational things there, especially with the Series S, getting and X, getting quick resume there. They make it so easy. Just tap the button, there they are. Tap the button, there they are. There's your most recent games, and so it's very nice.
Right.
I have a lot of compliments for how they've kind of evolved their UI, but with the 5, I'm really liking the UI as far as how it looks and some of the things they want to do. But there's some things I'm like, I don't know about that. Okay, so for instance, if I wanted to turn off the PlayStation 4, all I did, long press on the PlayStation button. There's the same thing with the Xbox. Long press on the Xbox button. There are your power options. But they've changed that now. So they have this control center on the one tap. Here comes the control center. That has a lot of options for quick options. Long press, it takes you back to the home screen. So I'm like, how do I log out now? Or how do I put it to rest or shut it off or whatever? So I have to go, right now, I have to do one tap on the control center, and there's tons of options in control center. There's friend stuff, music stuff, volume stuff, a lot of stuff, online stuff. There's tons of stuff, but all the way over in the other side of it is the power thing. That's throwing me off big time. I'm not sure about that. And another thing that, especially playing the Series S, man, I can that quick resume is going to be something I'm going to just, when I'm playing PlayStation 5, I'm just going to want it. But the closest thing they have to it, because load times are fast, right? On both consoles, load times are fast. I think I've noticed load times being a little bit faster.
Sure.
I've just noticed a little bit more snappiness with the Series S, just a little bit. I'm like, I feel like I'm getting around faster. I don't know if it's just the quick resume or whatever, but even with the loading, I'm just like, man, I'm getting around really quickly between everything. But so either way,
you mean in the UI or just the games coming up?
The games. I mean, I feel like I am. I mean, It's fast on the 5, but I just feel a little bit more snappiness when I'm playing Xbox. I don't know why. But either way, if
Maybe because it's not the full 4K HDR, maybe like those things, and make it harder to like load up all the properties and
less to load, that could possibly be it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm like reeling over how good the loading is on Dante's Inferno, but that being said, it's an Xbox 360 game, so I can't expect every
Right.
game to be as good as that. But
not a hard job to get it going.
yeah.
Like I remember my Xbox One when Modern Warfare would load up Warzone, it was like
We're
it's
taking
like
off.
Kind of said with the PlayStation with what like Last of Us 2. It's like oh boy, here we go.
Your PlayStation's huffing
like
and
your
puffing.
grandfather getting up out of the lazy boy.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
It's 100% it. And it's like there's not a speck of that on either console so far. I mean, and games are loading quickly.
You are 16.
Yeah.
You've just learned how to, I don't know.
Can't stop you from running around. Just slow down, kids.
You're in the prime of your life.
In the prime of your life. You still are certain that you can sprint well and everything.
Maybe the HDR is having problems because it's so new and so fast.
Oh, it's going too quickly. Too much range on that
too
R.
Much. The TV's like too much. Too much. Too many colors.
So even like if you're gonna close out one game and open another, I mean, there's still gonna be logos. Is the thing. There's still gonna be Sony Entertainment Studios, Insomniac.
That actually reminds me. Yeah, you're right. I was actually thinking when I was loading up Cold War, I was like, you know what's slowing this down? The videos.
Yeah.
Like the swooping of the things, like Sledgehammer Games. Boom. It's like that crap is taking way longer than what the actual loading would be. Welcome to Cold War. It's like, it's ready to go. It's just like, it's waiting on me and it's waiting on the video. It's like, we got this.
Exactly.
And it was honestly, it's like built for that period where things have to load. It's like, it's like they haven't built in the skip all that crap button yet, where it's like, I don't want to see the video. I don't want to see anything. Just let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
They will in the future. Like,
maybe they will. I mean,
skip the crap button.
I'm surprised that like Miles has all that stuff. Like, here's the Insomniac logo, but once the game starts, there's like no loading. It's like none, and which it's awesome. But like, so I was looking online. There's kind of a workaround to this, which brings me into the cards, the activity cards that the PlayStation 5 has, and this is interesting. And I'm not sure about a lot of this stuff yet. So one of the things that I really like, I'm playing Astro's Playroom, and I'm using this a lot. I want to platinum Astro's Playroom, and like there'll be collectibles. And sometimes in a game where there's collectibles, it's hard to know if you've gotten everything sometimes. Sometimes you're like, did I get everything in this area? I don't know. The activity cards will say, okay, you're on the beach area. Here's the activities here. You have this many puzzle pieces left. And if you're having trouble finding it, here's a video right here that'll show you the whereabouts as to where it is. It'll either give you a hint or a really strong suggestion. And that's cool. There's also a thing that if you're outside of the game is not booted up. It's not booted up at all. You can go over your game and go into the activity cards, and it'll say, hey, here's this section of the game, or here's this mission, or here's this area. Do you want to just boot to that? Like apparently like Fortnite has that. I don't know. I don't have it downloaded, but apparently if it does, where it can be like, okay, you want to go straight to deathmatch or whatever it is, you can go straight there. And so I've only tried this once, but the first time I did it, I got a glitch. So here's the glitch. I'm only going to tell you what it is because I think it's funny. So I go there and I go to, okay, let's go start. Yeah. And it's all, I'm Miles. I'm here. I'm perched on the building. Let's go. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I go to the next mission, and in the story, Miles has is like one of his friends. Like he's going to go meet up with her to do something. And so I go there, and he's like, all right, I'm here. I'm in my Spider-Man suit, and I go through a door, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And then Miles is like, hey, to like his friend, and he's in his Spider-Man suit the entire time. And I was like, wait, what? Does she know that he's Spider-Man? No, surely not. And then he like has a flashback of
Oh
him with a
Lord.
few other people, and he's still in his Spider-Man suit. And I was like,
What in the world?
this can't be. It was one of the strangest things I've ever seen. I was like, this can't be right. And then like after the cutscene was over, it like faded to black, and I heard the city noise, and that was it. I had to close the game out. I was like, what happened? And then and like okay. And so I closed the game, and then I went back into the game, and I was like right back at that mission. And here comes Miles back in that door, but he's in his street garb,
Oh my
no
goodness.
Spider-Man outfit, and he's like, "Hey," and it's
So weird.
and yeah, and I booted it regularly, and it did that, and then the game was just like, okay, whatever, and went on its merry way. But so that's the only time I've used the activity card. I'm gonna try it out more because in theory that's great, and if it
So you think it was because of the card that happened?
I don't know. I mean, it's the only time I've used it. It's a possibility. I
But
can't.
you said you quit the game and backed out and restarted and came back to that, and it didn't do it?
Yeah, I restarted normally, just
Yeah.
normally, and it
So
didn't
that
do
certainly
that.
makes it feel like it's because of that.
It does, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how that works at all. Like with the card, I'm like, how does that work? It's just like the
Yeah.
SSD. It's like, oh, I can see where you are really quickly and
Yeah,
just jump
that's
through
probably
there.
yeah. Since it's the SSD, it can look at the entire game at one time instead of having to like spin the disc up and move between. Yeah, that would make sense.
It could be like an approximation of like where it thinks you are, sort of in the game, but it's not exact. Like, okay, no, I did do it another time. I tried it out in Bug Snacks. I was like, all right, Bug Snacks, let's try it. And so because I think right now it's only a thing you can use on like PlayStation 5 games. Like I tried it in No Man's Sky,
Right.
and it just sent me to the regular menu. It didn't really like load me into like, oh, here I am, still flying around in space or whatever. I can imagine it'd be really difficult with No Man's Sky. But
Yeah.
either way, I tried it in Bug Snacks, and it took me to the right area. Like there wasn't anything weird. It was just I was at a different spot in that area. It was nothing like detrimental where I'm like, oh my God. I was just like at a different spot, and it triggered like a cutscene in that area. In that like little area that was part of the area that I was already in. I was like in the same place in my game. I had all the same stuff, but I was just like, it was just a little different than where I left. It was like, it's not quite where I left you last time I left Bug
Yeah.
Snacks. And so I'm interested to see how it works moving forward. Because if it works great moving forward and I'm only experiencing like a couple weird things, it's awesome. It's not quite as cool as Quick Resume, not quite as cool, but it's
It's not
good.
really like a save state. It's different, like you were saying. 'Cause a save
Yeah.
state, it's like it's frozen in time. It feels like when you go back to like save states.
Yeah, that's almost what it feels like with
Yeah,
Quick
something
Resume,
different.
where like you
It's
go
almost
back.
like you're going back to a chapter or something in like a DVD.
Yeah, I think that's actually probably a really good comparison, I would
Maybe they
imagine.
only have like a certain number of spots that they've marked in the game.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean? Like maybe it's like, well, this is the closest spot to where he was, so we'll go to here and hopefully he won't notice or something.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that. Either it's something that could be cool if it was refined, or it is awesome. And I just ran into one really weird thing and one thing that was kind of off. I mean, the thing with Buck Snacks, that doesn't really matter too much. I don't really care. But if it's like gonna glitch something out, then no. If it's gonna do that often, I'm probably just not gonna use it. But it could just be a really weird circumstance.
It is a different technology though, right? I mean, the quick resume, you can only do like a few games and it's not indefinite. It's like, it's like for a while it holds it. I don't they were kind of unclear as to that. And this is more like this is the index places that you can jump back into any of these games, right? At any moment, as long as you have it installed in your PlayStation.
That's what it seems. As long as you've made it to that part in the story, it'll say, "Hey, we kind of know what you got, and we can take you to this part. Like we know what stats you have, we know some of this stuff, but we'll take you to this part in the game."
So
Where
I
in
guess
Quick
that would be my
Resume,
question. It's like, is it actually because I played it, or did I just unlock what you've already indexed? Does that make sense? Like the
yeah,
entire game's already indexed. Like let's say, it's a 5 hour game and it has 30 different spots, and it's like you just have unlocked 12. The first 12, and then it's like you played to this point. So you've played to, let's say, 15% of the game, and we have an index at 14%. So we're going to go take you to the 14% index.
I think it's a little bit of column A and column B. I think like they do that, but also they're like, okay, we understand the skills that you've chosen and your character progression, and we're gonna take all that and keep that along. We know the suits that you've unlocked. We know that you did
Yeah.
not unlock that, but we put you at this
Well, I
point.
just mean maybe like the storyline, like background of the game is maybe indexed, but like your progress is like saved separately. So it's like we keep your
Mm-hmm.
progress here, but then like the flow, like the pages of a book are like indexed, and it's like we're going to put your saved character and all your information onto this index of page 28 of the book or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's some of that. And I think what I may have
We
experienced is
don't
some
really
of that
know
got
though.
maybe
We're
some of
just
that got
guessing.
scrambled because there was another part of that I didn't mention. When I went back, okay, so when I played it the first time, I had one suit on when I did the card, and I was like, I didn't really think anything of it because I didn't really remember which suit that I chose because I knew it was one of the ones that I unlocked. And then when I went through it again, I was like, I had a completely different suit on. I was like, huh? And so maybe they were like, this is the suit we think you have on. Or maybe that information got scrambled. I don't know. But
It's
either way,
interesting.
I've only tried it twice, obviously. So I'm going to try it a little bit more. I mean, obviously, I can't try it too much because, like, again, it's not going to work if I try to play like something like, say, Persona 5 or Kingdom Hearts because those are just completely backwards compatible games. I don't think backwards compat games have activity cards. I think it's only PlayStation 5 games. So yeah, it's not quick resume. Where quick resume, I think, like puts your games like in a cache or something like on. That's like why so much is partitioned out of your SSD. I think it like takes some of your games,
Right.
puts into a cache, and when you go back into it,
Yeah.
throws it back to you.
An untouchable area to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it does feel like a save state. Like seriously, like when I'm playing Doom or whatever, and I go back to it, I'm in the exact same position, at the exact same spot. The only thing that's different is the pause menu is up because it's not going to be like, which is what I'd
So it's
prefer.
obviously not what I'm saying. It's something different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Wonder how it works.
it's probably the most optimal option, just to be like, I'm in start, not like you're playing Doom and you're like, all right, let's go, and you're like, oh my god, and a bunch of demons are there and kicking your butt. So yeah, that's definitely a good thing. But so far, man, yeah, it's been great. I haven't had as much time as I would have liked to play these next gen consoles because we were out of town this weekend. So basically, I had Thursday, Friday, and a little bit when I got home today, and so I require much more time for me to be satisfied. And so
Yeah.
um,
I have things to fix.
yeah, you have a mission to solve or a puzzle to solve or whatever. That's God. What's your next move? Basically, just see how Call of Duty runs after you've installed it, and just to see, and
Yeah.
maybe
I
that'll.
guess just a lot of looking online to see what else I can try and just kind of screwing with settings and seeing if it changes anything. It seems like the switching of the inputs on the TV fixes it for some games.
Hmm.
And other games, it seems like it's another issue. So I don't know. Making sure, like, I also want to know if, like, maybe I have the wrong version of a game.
Yeah.
I'd be interested too if, like, any of these games, if I delete them, because you have to remember that there may be a whole issue where, because you didn't do what I did, so
No.
you may not be experiencing this. I've taken hard drives off the Xbox One, and that information may be formatted in a way that isn't as compatible. I never thought I'd be dealing with this, like I said, but I have to just like theorize on what's going on. So
Yeah.
that's my thought. Maybe the fact that it was on the Xbox One and now I've literally just plugged it straight into the Series X. It's like, wait a minute, this data is organized for an Xbox One, not a Series X.
That's my only
I
guess.
don't know.
Yeah, that's my only guess. I started from complete scratch and I used all my data. So
Yeah, and I mean, if I have to do that, then I
yeah,
have to do that.
yeah,
But
of course.
I would like to know if I have to do that.
Yeah,
That I don't know yet.
maybe don't do what I did and was like, I'm gonna fill up both my hard drives, and stuff like that. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll download what I need right now, maybe a few other extra games, and
Yeah, that'll be the test. Like, as I download fresh games from the internet, do any of those problems happen on those games?
yeah,
Because if they still happen on those games, then it's not that, and I shouldn't be bothering deleting the old games.
yeah.
But if it is that, then I guess slowly over months, I'll download everything again. Or
Yeah, you
I
had
don't know,
like
go to Starbucks and download something.
Starbucks. Do you have a data cap on your free internet? I'm gonna
It'd be
bring.
cool if you could like take an SD card or something and go download like an Xbox game
Oh
and
my
then bring it
god.
back to your computer. Especially for Adam, who has the internet issues out there. I'm sure he would
Yeah.
love that.
He just had
Like,
to
I
get.
have the compatible file right here. It's just
Yes.
like stick the SD card in and it transfers at least a lot faster than it would.
Absolutely. I mean, and at least like something I have noticed is download speeds and download like stuff is downloading faster to these SSD. I guess because the write speed is just a lot higher. Downloads are a lot less. Oh
Yeah.
my god, for real? When I'm looking at those times, you know what I mean? A little bit less of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm downloading, 130 gigs right now downstairs. So I was surprised. It was already up to like 30 and it had only been going for like
Hmm.
maybe an hour or so. I don't know. Might be buying more data. I hope not, but might come to that.
Cox this Cox cable this month with
Oh,
all
they're
those
loving it.
consoles. Give me that
They are loving
freaking game downloads.
it.
We love the Xbox and PlayStation
Yeah.
5. Download all those games.
Do it. Buy more data.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to bring up? There's I think like honestly, it's like we're gonna be talking about a lot less. I mean, because obviously they're here. We'll update as the weeks go on. Obviously, we're gonna need to update on what's going on with your situation. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be slower as far as games are concerned. I mean, as far as new games, I mean, we're just gonna be playing the games and just giving updates on these games that we're playing, like Cold War, Sackboy, and sure a lot of these. I don't know. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
journey, but yeah, keep me updated though. Like like whenever you that download finish, text me, let me know. I'm very interested to know
Yeah.
if that
I sure hope it works like
me too.
I want it to. At least I just want a path to like resolve this issue. At
Yeah.
this point when there's problems of all kinds, but especially this kind of thing, it's like I don't even know where to go from here at this point. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really cool. I've been a big downer on this episode, but I mean, I'm super excited. I know our buddy CJ got to jump into the Master Chief Collection, and I think they have done some enhancements for that for the Xbox, X and S,
Hmm.
Series X and S, and he said it looked really good. So
That's awesome.
it's yeah, Microsoft does a lot of fan service things like that I really appreciate, and those are tentpole games for the Xbox, and they're certainly some of my favorite games. So that's so cool that we can just play them right there in one really well collected collection, and they're getting enhanced. Sometimes 2 consoles, 3 consoles later. Crazy.
Absolutely.
So
I'm very
so cool.
happy. It's a really good feeling to turn on finally. Finally, I've been harping on this. I had a full on rant a couple episodes ago, our last episode about PlayStation 4 and backwards compatibility. It filled me with happiness to log into my account and under your games see 300 and whatever and be like, "Oh, it's all there." It's all there. It just be that filled me with so much joy and just relief at the same time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's so cool too that like I can share all the games I've bought with you too.
it's
That's such a cool
great.
thing.
Yeah, and it's great. I very very much appreciate that, by the way, because yeah, I very much have enjoyed just going through and be like, oh my god, they have this game. Oh my god, this game. Oh, this
Yeah.
game. Oh, you have this game. It's a really cool feeling that kind of
It's
like
such a nice thing that they let you do.
yeah. I have a lot of hype towards the Series S because of that. I think like it's gonna be just fun, just playing all these games. Game Pass lends itself so well to this whole quick resume thing. Like I know I'm talking about quick resume a lot, but it's awesome to just be like, okay, I'm gonna play this for a while. okay, you know what? Now I'm going to play this for a while. And it just feels
Yeah.
snappy. It makes you want to play more. It just makes you want to just be like, okay, I want to play more, and not be like, okay, time to load up this game and it be this big freaking deal. No, just be like, okay, no, I'm playing this. Boom, 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 boom. Oh crap, I died. Okay, I'm back. Oh, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? It just feels
Yeah.
good. It feels better. It makes gaming just more fun. There's some of that on PlayStation 5, but I think on Xbox, it's that quick resume and just the snappy load times. It feels great. And so, yeah, I am very excited about this generation of games. I looking at some of the stuff and how good certain things look. Like I'm playing a Miles Morales and like Astrobot is a packin' game, and I'm like, wow, this looks freaking good. Holy crap. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Miles Morales, which is a last gen game that they've optimized for the PlayStation 5 with ray tracing crap. It looks so good. I'm so excited about 3 years down the line or whatever, when we're looking at games and we're just like, holy freaking crap, this generation is awesome. They're utilizing their SSDs to the maximum ability. Unreal Engine 5 is out. Yeah, once these bugs are working out. And I'm sure, like, and the funny thing is like, as these consoles have gone on, we talked a lot about this last week, but they've added tremendous things. Oh, I lost Luke. I'll hold that thought, Jordan. Hold that thought. I'm gonna invite him again. See if that works out. But I'm gonna fill in some space here. Hearing my wife play I think Spider-Man downstairs, and I'm like, yes. I'm so excited to share that with her too, just to be the excitement of a next gen console. Be like, we're doing it together. Let's see, he's texting me. Okay. I'm going to invite him again. He left us. Hello. You had enough, didn't you? You were just like, screw this crap. I've had enough.
Did they cut the recording?
No. It's still recording.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's still in mine, still recording. So yeah, we're good. I held on to my thought, but like something that like is exciting, because like last gen, it's like a few years into it, they like added extremely exciting things like Game Pass. That was something that was added on. Backwards compatibility in the Xbox One was added on like big time midway through. And like even like little things that were like patched in, like I forget, like with the PlayStation 4, like the ability to suspend a game in rest mode wasn't a thing when PlayStation 4 launched. And that's crazy, because that's
true.
Throughout like everything. That's like one of my most used things throughout the entire PlayStation 4 is just, oh, I'm going to suspend my game and put it on rest, and okay, I'm back. Great.
Yeah.
And like that was added on, and that was transformative for me. And so we're going to get a lot of stuff for this. I think these like stuff system wide, as far as like,
oh yeah, stuff we don't even know about yet.
Exactly. Sure. Very exciting. Do we have time? Have you been watching anything? Do we have time for anything, or do you want to kind of just do it next
Not
week?
much. I was trying to get Jason into Schitt's Creek, kind of like I'd gotten you into it. So yeah, not a whole lot really. Just we really did the Xbox thing, and Jason and I we got to go snorkeling.
Oh,
my first time ever using a what you call it? It's not a full wetsuit, but it was like a wetsuit jacket, so it was like just the top, and it was a lot of fun. We went to the Devil's Den, kind of a world-renowned like place, really cool place.
That's a lot of fun.
Light shines down right in the middle, and it's this big circular room. You get to like swim around in this cave. Really neat.
That sounds like a lot of fun. That's awesome, man. But yeah,
so I've been watching that.
watching the innards of an underwater cave.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've just been watching Schitt's Creek. That's it. It's a really funny show. It's really good.
Good.
Yeah,
got into it.
Yeah, got into it. We're almost done with season 1. Me and Amber. Amber's also really enjoying it.
So goofy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very goofy. But yeah, I agree 100% of what you're saying. Like the main stars of it are the Levies. They are very funny. They have really great personalities. They're really good characters. Like Eugene Levy, his face. It's like he could just react to something and you just look at him and it's funny. It's just funny just to see his with his
His giant eyebrows.
big giant caterpillar eyebrows. Very
They
expressive.
both have the same eyebrows too.
Yeah.
Daniel as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're good actors. And yeah, what's her name? Moira.
Oh
She's
yeah.
great. Her voice that she puts on,
Mm-hmm.
the best. We went back with Jason and watched the first episode, and it's like, this is not the same show you see later on. It's like they're not doing the voice at all. It's so different. It's just you see how the show evolves so much, from the first few episodes.
It's funny. That's how it is with comedy, television. Usually, I feel like you just kind of have to get through to like at least the second half of the first season
Yeah.
before you're like, okay, I understand
Yep,
this
it's
humor.
very much like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's ever like even some of the best comedy shows are like The Office, Parks and Rec, Community. All of it's like, yeah, the first season you got to watch it. It's pretty good, but it's not what the show is like even immediately afterwards. And
Yep.
so, but I'm really enjoying it, and so I'm happy to watch till the end. But yeah, I guess I guess that's pretty much our show, and we'll have another one next week. We'll do it again.
Yeah, I will do my best to watch The Third Day. We
Oh
can talk
yeah,
about some next week. We've been teasing that for too long.
it's coming.
We need to
Everyone,
finally do that.
here it comes. The third day, maybe on the third month of podcasting.
Maybe no one cares, but
Whatever. I care.
we need to do it.
Well, either way, we'll be back next week and we'll talk about things. I hope everyone has had a great time. I hope if you haven't gotten new consoles, don't give up hope. Follow Wario64. And, and if you can't afford it right now, it's fine to wait. We're talking about all the fun, but
Still haven't gotten my second one.
oh yeah.
Yeah, my Amazon one's still out there. So.
Still preparing that order. What is it even saying?
Yeah, it just says order received. That's all it
Excellent.
says.
God, yeah, I'm hearing this all over.
I'm still
the
looking to
place.
buy another one so I can just cancel that one.
Yeah.
For Jason. So anybody out there has one for normal price, not trying to resell me one for $1,200.
Yeah. God.
Let me know.
Holler at your boy. But yeah, anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.